The right wing delivers a crazy 13. Let's play hardball. Hello, I'm Chris Matthews in Washington. You know, politicians on the right have done some disturbing and destructive things this year. They derailed every major legislative item they could, including legislation on gun control, immigration, the budget, and even workplace discrimination. When they did take up legislation, it looked like this: more than 45 separate votes to kill the Affordable Care Act, abortion laws cooked up by the extreme right, and countless measures attacking the poor, like slashing food stamps. They also advanced bills in 36 states to suppress the voting rights of minorities. They nearly toppled the economy by bringing us to the brink of our first ever default. And they shut down the government. But if you think that what they did was outrageous, just wait to hear what they said this year. The far right has uttered some of the most shocking, offensive, disgraceful, and even crazy things you can expect to hear in politics. And over the next hour, we'll show you most of
at this point. And they seemed, I was told that the reason he didn't, they debated use certain words, and that does matter. And that because when the president says terrorist attack, that's a whole lot different than when Dianne Feinstein says it. No offense to Dianne Feinstein.
Absolutely. And the word has taken on a different meaning since 9/11. You use those words, and it means something very specific in people's minds. And I'm sure what was going through the president's mind is, we really don't know who did this. It was tax day. Was it someone who was pro? You know, you just don't know. And so I think his attitude is, let's not put any inference into this. Let's just make clear that we're going to get the people
Anything you say could prejudge whether fair
and have reverberations all over the world.
Very seriously, and this is a little harsh, but one of the things about Herman Cain is I think that he makes that white Republican base of the party feel okay, feel like they are not racist because they can like this guy. I think he is giving that base a free pass, and I think they like him because they think he is a black man who knows his place. And I know that's harsh, but that's how it sure seems to me.
Well, thank you for spelling that out.
For over 40 years, Morgan Freeman has entertained audiences on the big screen. He earned his first Oscar nod, playing a tough-talking pimp in 1987's Street Smart, and was nominated again 2 years later for his performance as Hoke, the chauffeur and confidant of a Southern Jewish woman over 25 years, in 1989's Driving Miss Daisy.
Hoke?
Yes.
You're my best friend.
Oh, go on now, Miss Daisy.
No,
you
really. You are. You are.
Yes.
His performance as Red, a wise and entrepreneurial inmate in the Shawshank Redemption, earned him a third Oscar nomination in 1994. But it wasn't until over a decade later that Freeman took home his first Oscar for playing fighter-turned-trainer Eddie Scrap Iron Dupree in 2005's $1 Million Baby. Freeman's played countless other characters, real and fictional, from South Africa's first black president, Nelson Mandela, in Invictus.
Forgiveness starts here, too. Forgiveness liberates the soul. It removes fear. That is why it is such a powerful weapon.
And he played the President of the United States, preparing for an asteroid's collision with the Earth in Deep Impact, to an even higher power in the 2003's Bruce Almighty.
I'm the one, creator of the heavens and the earth, Alpha and Omega.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Bruce, I'm God.
And now Freeman is turning to science, hosting and producing the 4th season of the Discovery Science Channel's Through the Wormhole. But this is no ordinary science show. Freeman studies controversial topics like, do we have free will? Did God create evolution? And when does life begin?
Hugo's research has led him to believe
that a baby cannot be conscious until it is about 25 weeks old. So, is this when life begins?
I think before consciousness has developed, you are not a person, actually. I think this is the time when life begins.
But one child psychologist thinks the beginning of life comes much later. Later than you could ever imagine.
It's an honor to welcome the host and executive producer of Through the Wormhole, Academy Award-winning actor, director, and all-around legend, Morgan Freeman. Thanks so much for coming in and being on the show tonight.
Great to see you again, Al.
Now, Through the Wormhole, you've been producing it and hosting it for 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
What was your interest? What made you interested in science and understanding how things work?
I don't really know. When I was in high school, I had physics, and it was just the most fascinating subject. I was an A student, but I couldn't pass the test and get an A.
Wow.
I got my A's for asking questions. That was the thing.
Is that right? So you've always had this inquiring...
But like, take a look at New Jersey. Chris Christie thinks he's going to run for president. Texas. I mean, there are some current Republican governors in some states that have high unemployment where you think to yourself, now, what's your argument going to be in terms of how you can stimulate the economy when you had people unemployed? And as we know, as you pointed out, those numbers are going to grow.
Yeah, and Karen mentioned gerrymandering earlier. One of the things that happened after the 2010 election is the House of Representatives became more rural and more white than ever before. So everything's skewed. All the people live in urban America, but all the political power right now is in white rural America thanks to gerrymandering.
They've created a midterm electorate, essentially a semi-permanent midterm
It's a geopolitical calculation. Who lives in urban America? I wonder. And so this is welfare queen light. You know, you don't even have to say it. All you have to say is urban, like urban radio. Who's that? It's not Miley Cyrus, exactly. But it's Miley Cyrus twerking, but her twerking is not where it really gets to it. So the point is, who's twerking here? And who's getting twerked? And so the reality is that we know, again, people of color are disproportionately, aggregated in these areas, congregated for that matter. And the unemployment, that's the beauty of the Biscotti example in the Washington Post. Let's put a white face on what is essentially problem of American citizens that happens to disproportionately affect Latinos and African American people. But guess what? Unemployment is coming for you too. It might start in those communities, but it's creeping up the IBM.